Hi everyone, Nigel Saunders here. We are back for day 3 of working on the larch forest. Yesterday I spent the whole afternoon scrubbing lichen off the trunks and the branches of the trees, and today I'm going to continue. I was using a spray bottle and a toothbrush to scrub all the lichen off the trunks and the branches of the trees, and I noticed by mid-afternoon the lichen was turning like this really bright, vibrant green color. I guess it really must have liked that water I was spraying on it. And now I come out today and everything looks quite normal. Like if you looked at these trees, you wouldn't say they're covered in lichen. You would just say, oh, it's got a bit of lichen on it. It's really toned down just after one day. So I think, when I spray it with water again, it'll probably turn all bright green again this afternoon. The lichen seems to really like that misting of water. Here's a look at one of the back trees, and it's covered with kind of a yellowish lichen on it. I'm going to spray it down, and then we'll check back in on this tree later this afternoon and see if it's changed, see if that lichen is actually kind of puffed up and grown. So here I go with the sprayer. So this is the before, and I don't know, is it my imagination or is it greened up already? Sure looks greener to me now. That's amazing. A little more water on there. This is just rainwater I'm using. There's no fertilizer or anything in it. I don't know, that just looks greener to me right now. Like almost instantly. So I'm going to leave that tree until last to scrub it down. So I'll come back later this afternoon and see if it looks much different. I'm going to start on this little end tree today. So I'll rotate the planting around, kind of get that tree up front where I can reach it. Get it sprayed down nicely. And then I'll get the toothbrush and begin scrubbing. So I'll just keep scrubbing away, get this first tree done, and I'll show you each tree as I finish it. And again, it might take me a long time. It takes about an hour per tree. But it's well worth doing. I think it's good to get the lichen off. I'm sure it'll grow back again. And I'll be doing this operation again. Maybe even next year, I don't know. I'll keep track and see how long it takes for it to get thick again. I've got the end tree all lichen free now. I can see some branches on here that will need some addressing. They're starting to get quite thick. I'll have to reduce the vigor on them, try and balance them a bit. So yeah, so there'll be some pruning work coming up after all this cleanup work. I'm making good progress, just 4 trees to go. What a peaceful Sunday afternoon. Just me and the crows. It's tricky work getting in between all these branches, and that's why it takes so long per tree. Some of the lichen comes off easily, some doesn't. I am moving right along. I've got this tree at the back done. So I have 3 more, so I'm going to do this one and the one over here, and this is the one I was going to leave till last to see how green the lichen gets. I've got the forest turned around, so you're seeing the back of it now. So the next tree I'll be working on is this one right here. All right, let's start up top here. A very thick layer of lichen on this tree. Wow. And it's nice to see the sun out today. It came out this morning and then it kind of clouded over. And I thought, oh, sure would be nice to have sun in the plant room this afternoon. And then it came out again. So hopefully it'll stay out. Get those tropical trees a bit of sun today. It's very cold in the greenhouse today. The sun is just about to hit the greenhouse, and that'll warm it up quite a bit. You can see all the frost on the windows and on the roof. So the temperature today inside is 8.3 degrees Celsius or 46.9 degrees Fahrenheit. Outside it's -7 or 18 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's pretty cool in here. I've got the heater running when I'm not videoing, which helps a bit, but it's still pretty cold on the old hands here. So I'm working away. I've got my second last tree almost done. Got a few more branches to get the lichen off on that, and then it'll be tackling the last tree in the forest. I've got all the trees cleaned of the lichen except for that one. You can see how bright a green it is. It's almost like a fluorescent green or satellite green color. It's quite amazing. I really like lichen. I hate scraping it off, but I think it's just building up too thick and affecting the health of the trees, just covering up the branches and the buds. And I think this will hopefully help me get back budding by removing all this lichen. There's a look at the lichen up close. So yeah, quite a green color. I've got to take it off now. I've got to do the last tree. The sun is now shining in the greenhouse. I noticed that all of my windows are frosted up from the cold, and the sun isn't as strong because it has to go through the glass layer and then the ice layer. So I'm kind of getting diffused light in the greenhouse. So I'm not sure how warm it'll get in here this afternoon. I hope it gets warm in here because it's getting mighty cold on the old hands. I've got one more tree to go, so I'll get to it. Here's one last look at the green lichen before I scrub it off. It almost glows. It is very, very amazing. Wow. The only green tree in the forest. My cold bluing solution for my tools is on order. It still hasn't come in yet. I'm still waiting for it. So hopefully soon, and I can get back to doing some of my tools, restoring them, getting them all ready and sharp for spring. I have finished brushing all the lichen off all the trees now. It was a big job, but it was really worthwhile. I think the trees are going to look fantastic this summer when you can actually see the bark on them. Let's go in and have a look at the trees. So here they are. You can see the main tree out front there is the bark is drying on it. You can see how the bark is starting to crack on it. All the branches. There's a lot of work scrubbing that all down. But yeah, definitely worth it. Get all those trunks and branches cleaned up. So my next step, I've got to come down to the landscape. So I started clearing away moss at the base of this tree. So I've got to do it for all the other trees. I don't want this moss climbing up. And I was looking at this other tree. I don't know what happened over here. You can see it. It looks like there was some bark over it, and when the bark fell off, it looked like it was kind of rotted or chewed under there. None of the other trees have any rotting on them, so I don't know what happened there. I'm just not sure, so I'll keep an eye on it. I don't think it's any major concern, but it's something there. Very interesting. I noticed a lot of branches on the tree that need pruning, where they divide from 1 to 3. Some of the branches I mentioned were getting a little long, maybe, like that one. So I've got some pruning and sorting out to do. Usually I leave that till later in spring, but I might do some major, like try and get the major branch work done now, and then leave all the fine tip pruning for later on. So if I'm going to remove a branch or, cut a long branch back, it's a good time to do it now. So I'll keep working away. I'm going to clear away the moss at the base of each tree. That'll be my next step in cleaning up this forest. I'm coming in with the tweezers and just pulling the moss away from the base of each tree. You can see how it's starting to climb up the trunk. And it'll hold too much moisture against that bark and it could rot it out. So I'm going to make sure you can see that nice root flare. So it might involve, you know, clearing a fair amount of moss away. It's really grown in. Amazing. I guess just like the lichen, it just likes this environment. Here's a look at all the moss I've cleared away from the base of the trees. So there's a look at the main tree, moss-free at the base, the one behind it, continuing over here. So just clearing it all away. I've got a lot of landscape work to do too. Reestablishing my dry riverbed in the middle here, pruning the moss up. It'll be a lot of fun. Really looking forward to it. So yeah, that'll be coming up probably tomorrow. I finished removing all the moss from around the base of all the trees. I think I'm going to switch gears. I'm going to finish removing all the needles that are fallen down on top of the moss, getting ready for tomorrow where I'll be doing all the creative landscape work. I'm thinking of relocating my dry stream bed here, more centrally located between these two trees. It may involve moving one of those moss bushes. So a lot of landscape work. I'll really step back and have a good look at it and kind of decide where I want to go. So that'll be coming up. I was cleaning up needles in this area and I thought I'd better clean out all the excess moss. This is my kind of dry stream bed, and this is sort of the floodplain down here. And it was covered with moss and all kinds of weeds, debris. So I was just cleaning all that out. I think it's important to have variation on your forest floor. I've got kind of a dry stream bed area there. I've got mossy areas, I've got rocks, and all these little details add to the realism of the forest, and it also makes it more interesting, so it takes longer to explore it and see all the details. That's what I want. I want someone to look at the forest and then they bend down and they look at all the details and all the trees and the shadows the trees create and all the little details that make the forest look like a miniature forest. It's getting late in the afternoon. The sun will be setting behind the fence soon, so the light will be going away. So I thought I'd show you the progress on the forest. All right, let's fly in. You can see the trunks of the trees and the branches are all clean of lichen, looking nice. You can see it's starting to turn more of that gray color now. The landscape, it's slowly getting there. I've been doing a lot of cleaning out of my dry riverbed here. Still picking away needles off the moss. But I really enjoy doing the landscape work. So yeah, this dry riverbed kind of comes up here. And it's very close to that one tree, and I was thinking maybe more in the middle would look better. Kind of have it start like it is and then come over and up. So I might have to move that one moss bush back there, which I can do. There's a couple of times over the past few years a squirrel has knocked them off. They come in here and digging, or a bird or something, and I find this moss bush lying on the ground or the bench, and I just put it back in position, and slowly the moss grows back in and it reattaches itself. So you can see, you know, they're kind of, that one's attached, so is that one, but they could be pulled off easily and relocated. So I'll continue with the cleanup of the needles until my light fails, but I think this is going to be it for tonight for the video. I'll just work away by myself until it gets a little darker out. The days are definitely getting longer now. We're about halfway through winter. I had a lot of fun working on my larch forest today, getting it all cleaned up. It made a lot of progress. So tomorrow will be day 4 for the larch forest, where I'll be doing a lot of that creative work on the landscape. It should be fun. So that's all for today. I'm Nigel Saunders. Thanks for joining me in the Bonsai Zone.